Day 36 of 365. Exodus 21, 22, and Psalm 35.
Imprecatory psalm.
There.
Heck yeah. Well, that's okay.
These are the regulations you must present to Israel. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he may serve for no more than 6 years. Set him free in the 7th year. He will owe you nothing for his freedom. If he was single when he became your slave, he shall leave single. But if he was married before he became a slave, then his wife must be freed with him. If his master gave him a wife while he was a slave and they had sons or daughters, then only the man will be free in the 7th year. But his wife and children will still belong to his master. But the slave may declare, I love my master, my wife, and my children. I don't want to go free. If he does this, his master must present him before God. Then his master must take him to the door or doorpost and publicly pierce his ear with an awl. After that, the slave will serve his master for life. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be free at the end of 6 years, as the men are. If she does not satisfy her owner, he must allow her to be bought back again. But he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. But if the slave's owner arranges for her to marry his son, he may no longer treat her as a slave, but as a daughter. If a man who has married If a man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacy. If he fails in any of these 3 obligations, she may leave as a free woman without taking any payment. This is weird stuff. Anyone who assaults and kills another person must be put to death. But if it was simply an accident permitted by God, I will appoint a place of refuge where the slayer can run for safety. However, if someone deliberately kills another person, then the slayer must be dragged even from my altar and be put to death. Anyone who strikes father or mother must be put to death. Kidnappers must be put to death, whether they are caught in possession of their victims or have already sold them as slaves. Anyone who dishonors father or mother must be put to death. Now suppose 2 men quarrel, and one hits the other with a stone or fist, and the injured person does not die, but is confined to bed. If he is later able to walk outside again, even with a crutch, the assailant will not be punished, but must compensate his victim for lost wages and provide for his full recovery. If a man beats his male or female slave with a club and the slave dies as a result, the owner must be punished. But if the slave recovers within a day or 2, then the owner shall not be punished, since the slave is his property. Gosh. Now suppose 2 men are fighting, and in the process, they accidentally strike a pregnant woman, so she gives birth prematurely. If no further injury results, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands, and the judges approve. But if there's further injury, the punishment must match the injury: a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, or a foot for a foot, burn for a burn, wound for a wound, a bruise for a bruise. If a man hits his male or female slave in the eye, and the eye is blinded, he must let the slave go free to compensate for the eye. And if a man knocks out the tooth of his male or female slave, he must let the slave go free to compensate for the tooth. If an ox gores a man or woman to death, the ox must be stoned, and in its flesh may not be eaten. In such a case, however, the owner will not be held liable. But suppose the ox had a reputation for goring, and the owner had been informed but failed to keep it under control. If the ox then kills someone, it must be stoned, and the owner must also be put to death. However, the dead person's relatives may accept payment to compensate for the loss of life. The owner of the ox may redeem his life by paying whatever is demanded. The same regulation applies if the ox gores a boy or a girl. But if the ox gores a slave, either male or female, the animal's owner must pay the slave's owner 30 silver coins, and the ox must be stoned. Good Lord, can we be done with this? Suppose someone digs or uncovers a pit and fails to cover it, and then an ox or a donkey falls into it. The owner of the pit must pay full compensation to the owner of the animal, but then he gets to keep the dead animal. If someone's ox injures a neighbor's ox, and the injured ox dies, and the two owners must sell the live ox and divide the price equally between them. They must also divide the dead animal. But if the ox had a reputation for goring, yet its owner failed to keep it under control, he must pay full compensation, a live ox for the dead one, but he may keep the dead ox.
If a man steals an ox or a sheep,
22.
If a man steals an ox or a sheep and kills it or sells it, he shall repay 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief is found breaking in and stuck so that he dies, there shall be no blood guilt for him. But if the sun has risen on him, there shall be no blood guilt for him. He shall surely pay. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If a stolen beast is found alive in his possession, whether it is an ox or a donkey or a sheep, he shall pay double. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be grazed over, or let the beast loose and it feeds in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best in his own field and in his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and catches in the thorn so that the stacked grain or the standing grain of the field is consumed, he who stands at the fire shall make restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or good to keep safe, and it is stolen from the man's house, then if the thief is found, he shall pay double. If the thief is not found, the owner of the house shall come near to God to know whether or not he has put his hand in the neighbor's property. For every breach of trust, whether it is for an ox, for a donkey, for a sheep, for a cloak, or any kind of lost thing, or which one says this is it, the case is both parties shall come before God. The one whom condemns shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives his neighbor a donkey or an ox or a sheep or any beast to keep safe, and it dies or is injured or driven away without anyone selling it, without anyone seeing it, an oath of the Lord shall be between them both to see whether or not he has to put his hands in his neighbor's property. The owner shall accept the oath. He shall not make restitution, but if it is stolen from him, he shall make restitution to its owner. It is torn by beast, let him bring it as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what has been torn. If a man borrows anything from his neighbor and is injured or dies, the owner not being with it, he shall make full restitution. If the owner was with it, he shall not make full restitution. If it is hired, it came for its hiring fee. If a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he shall give her the bride price for her and make her his wife. If the father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the bride price for virgins. You shall not permit a sorceress to live. Perfect. Whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death. Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction. You shall not wrong a sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt. You shall not mistreat any widow or fatherless child. If you do mistreat them, and they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath will burn, and I will kill you with a sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a moneylender to him, and you shall not exact interest from him. If ever you take your neighbor's cloak in pledge, you shall return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering, and it is his cloak for his body, and what else should he sleep? And if he cries out to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. You shall not revel God, nor curse a ruler of your people. You shall not delay to offer from the fullness of the harvest and from the outflow of your presses. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall be with its mother, or on the 8th day you shall give it to me. You shall be consecrated to me. Therefore, you shall not eat any flesh that is torn by beasts in the field. You shall not throw it to the dogs.
Psalm 35.
Is it cut in half?
No. Psalm 35. Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and rise for my help. Draw the spear and javelin against my pursuers. Say to my soul, I am your salvation. Let them be put to shame and dishonor who seek after my life. Let them be turned back and disappointed who devise evil against me. Let them be like chaff before the wind, with the angel of the Lord driving them away. Let their way be dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord pursuing them. For without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let destruction come upon them when he does not know it. And let the net that he hid ensnare him. Let him fall into it in his destruction. Then my soul will rejoice in the Lord, exulting in his salvation. All my bones shall say, O Lord, who is like you, delivering the poor from him who is too strong for him, the poor and needy from him who robs him. Malicious witnesses rise up. They ask me of things that I do not know. They repay me evil for good. My soul is bereft. But I, when they were sick, I wore sackcloth. I afflict myself with fasting. I prayed with head bowed on my chest. I went about as though I grieved for my friend or my brother, as one who laments his mother. I bowed down in mourning. But in my stumbling they rejoiced and gathered. They gathered together against me. Wretches whom I did not know tore at me without ceasing, like profane mockers at a feast. They gnash at me with their teeth. How long, O Lord, will you look on? Rescue me from their destruction, my precious life from the lions. I will thank you in the great congregation, in the mighty throng. I will praise you. Let not those rejoice over me who are wrongfully my foes, and let not those wink the eye who hate me without cause. For they do not speak peace, but against those who are quiet in the land they devise words of deceit. They open their mouths against me. They say, Aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. You have seen, O Lord, be not silent. O Lord, be not far from me. Awake and arouse yourself for my vindication, for my cause, my God and my Lord. Vindicate me, O Lord, my God, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Aha, our heart's desire. Let them say, We have swallowed him up. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let them be put to shame and disappointed altogether who rejoice at my calamity. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor who magnify themselves against me. Let those who delight in my righteousness should shout for joy and be glad, and say evermore, Great is the Lord, who delights in the welfare of his servant. Then my tongue shall tell of your righteousness and of your praise all day long.
Question 1.
Okay. Where do you need to take responsibility rather than excuse or minimize?
I don't know.
Good talk.
No, I'm a responsible person. I have a lot of responsibilities. And I don't ever... I'm one of those people that I'm one of those people that if something needs done, I'm going to do it myself because I don't trust other people to do it correctly. I guess that would be my discipline that I need, is to delegate more. But I'm afraid that if I delegate someone to do it, they will not do it the way that it needs to be done, or to my liking, causing us to do it over again, which is against the time that we have to do it. But that is how you raise up leaders, is by delegating them and letting them succeed or fail. And I think that's something you have to do more with the kids, is just not doing everything for them. Mm-hmm. And they do stuff on their own, and they learn pretty quick. It's not like hey boys, do the dishwasher, and they're doing it right away. Hey boys, if you want something done, if you want to do something today, you got to clean this room. And our oldest is better than some of the other ones at doing it, but obviously he's got more responsibility. He's older, he understands it more, so it's a learning process. Mm-hmm. And we're always learning.
When you feel wronged, what is your instinctive response?
I kind of just shrug my shoulders now. They're not even I don't even think there ever was a time where I would like clap back at somebody because I've never been one for drama. Ever. So if you wrong me, whatever. I'll just move on.
I feel like it depends on the person for me. Like if I know I'm right, I'm like, listen, you're not gonna win, and I do kind of like get quarrely, but
I think that's a problem that a lot of people have. Number 2 is like the banter on social media. You're never gonna change someone's mind on social media, so just forget it. If you have to, say one comment and just leave it.
Get your point out.
Your 35 post thread isn't gonna be worth the hassle. Save your time and energy. Focus it somewhere else. You'll never change someone's mind on the internet.
How can prayer replace retaliation in your life? It does. It's so relieving to just give it to God and let it go. You don't have to worry about having it handled. You don't have to worry about it being like addressed or even. I said like, dang it. You know that it's gonna be handled properly when you give it to God, and you don't have to worry about it again. So like you could call prayer the retaliation. Like you're just gonna sit there and pray about it, and that's your. I mean, like that. That's like. Instead of like coming back with an insult or like putting someone down to get that little like I'm better than you type of like I won, getting the last word. If you just pray about it, like that's even better than getting the last word. You're just like, my God's gonna handle you. Watch out. And maybe he handles you. I don't know. Maybe it's not even what you want it to be, but you just know God is just and he'll do what he does. So, replace prayer or replace retaliation with prayer.
Let us keep in step with the Spirit. Was it Galatians 3:25?
5:25.
5:25. I can't read from here. That's it for day 36. Peace.
Peace.